Hey everyone, Bill Miller here, here to talk about something that is probably not easy to talk about for most of us, especially at first. I'm getting to the point where it's a lot easier for me to talk about without getting emotional, but I was very emotional the first few weeks that I've gone through this. That I've realized something about myself, about my whole life, basically, and that is that I am an abusive, I should say I was an abusive person. It's hard to know when it actually started. There's childhood trauma. I think most children go through some childhood trauma of some sort. There's a good chance that's when it started. A lot of times, when you go through a bad, whatever it could be. For my life, it was my sister was kidnapped when I was a 10-year-old boy. She was a 14-year-old girl in a small town in the mountains in Colorado, and just went for a jog. One Saturday morning, training for volleyball. I think she was going into 9th grade, if I remember right. And that was it, just shorts and a t-shirt, and never came back. What happened after that was chaos. The whole town was up in arms. Was up in the mountains in Colorado. There's a lot of search and rescue missions, and the whole community kind of rallied around it. It was a big deal. The news stations were always around. They would interview us. They would follow us to school on our bicycles. The kids at school would all treat us different. They held us out of the first day of school. I remember it happened on August 14th, 1983. They held us out of school the first day back to kind of train the rest of the school, or the rest of the kids in school, to not, how to treat us, how to not treat us, don't corner us and ask us a bunch of questions, because of, it obviously is a, big ordeal. A lot of nerve, I don't know what you'd call it, a lot of tension and anger and sadness and confusion, anything you can imagine. I was her little brother, too. There's a sister between she and I. So while it was hard for me and it changed my life forever, I can't even fathom what my parents went through. Kind of breaks my heart to think about. I've got 4 children of my own, 3 daughters. My oldest one is 17. My youngest one turns 14 next year, which is the age that Beth was when she was kidnapped. So I've already had to go through it twice with my daughters turning 14, and think about how it must have felt for my parents to raise a child for 14 years, and then one day she's just gone. So anyway, what kind of happened with me is, when I think about my life now, that's the furthest back I can really remember a lot. I can pinpoint certain, things, certain weeks, certain months where I was frustrated, maybe for whatever reason, and I just kind of became a bully in a way. I used to push people around, push kids around. People would ask me questions about it, and I would get mad and just, do what little boys do, I guess. And that, I don't know about beating them up, but probably that's what you do. And then I would go to the principal's office, and the principal, of course, would just say, I understand what you're going through, what your family's going through, and I'm really sorry, and just, hang out here till the end of class, and then just go back to class and be nice, try to be nice, But never did I get in trouble. like, geez, I think we could have probably robbed a bank and they would have just, said that they understand what we're going through and just give the money back or most of it back or whatever and go home, So I just kind of feel like I took advantage of that for sure. I don't know if it was knowingly, unconsciously, consciously. I was a 10-year-old boy that was going through a lot of hurt and pain. My parents were obviously absolutely consumed by the kidnapping, by the search. There were, hundreds and hundreds of clues coming in that, it sounds like, they try to follow all of them. Obviously, you don't ever try to, discount any, but so clearly my parents were really, really consumed by that. There were 7 of us kids. Beth was the 4th. So she was kind of right in the middle. But, there were still 6 of us left after that. My oldest sister actually had already graduated and moved out. My other sister, the next one down, I think was maybe either a senior or was just moved out or just graduated. So maybe there were just 4 of us left after the kidnapping. But either way, our parents were probably pretty consumed for a long period of time after that. And to be honest, I think I just, I don't blame myself for acting out or being mad, being upset, being hurt, being confused. I blame myself today for turning into the person that I became, and I can trace it maybe back to that occurrence or instance or that year, 2 years worth of cops and investigations and psychics, and the FBI got involved, the CBI got involved, the obviously this, the city police, the sheriff's office, everyone, all the news stations, they were up there. There were articles in the paper daily on updates about Beth Miller, so it was a big deal. Like, it was a big deal, and there's a lot of, a lot of ways to react to things like that happen, and I think I took probably the worst route you could take. A guy could be sad, a person could be sad, over that and confused, and maybe turn to music or reading or something to like escape. I feel like I probably was mad, and I didn't know how to handle it. I just kind of would bully people. I became a bully for sure. I know one guy I ended up working with in high school. I kept inviting him out to go out with my friends and I to, high school parties or whatever. And then after a couple of weeks of doing that, he finally looked at me and he asked, he's like, "Do you even remember?" And I was like, "Remember what?" He's like, "Man, you used to shove me into lockers every day in gym class. You'd shove me into my locker and laugh at me. But I don't remember. Like, I wish I did." It doesn't make you feel good about yourself to know that that's how you were. But I just don't remember being that way. I don't remember a whole lot before the kidnapping. I was 10. I obviously remember, classes and teachers and friends like that. I guess I just don't remember how I was as a person, how I was as a kid before that happened. I just remember after that happened, I started acting out. Never turned to drugs per se, unless alcohol is a drug, but I did start, drinking at a very young age, maybe 12 years old. My older brothers or sisters or whatever would buy my friends and I a 6-pack of beer, and we'd go up on the mountaintop and drink, a 6-pack of beer between 3 or 4 of us or something. And so I that was kind of the start of my drinking as well, which later on became a big problem. Anyway, I know I kind of ramble. It's what I do. I want to, convey how I, feel like I got started in being an abuser, because I want people to be able to maybe look at themselves, if you're watching and this kind of registers with you or makes sense with you, like, yeah, that's kind of me, like that was me, or, that's me now, or whatever. Like, I've been a bully my whole life. Not to everybody, but to the ones that I let into my life, into my heart, the people I date. If it gets to the point where I feel like they can hurt me, then and before they can hurt me, I hurt them. I insult. There's not an insult that I won't lower myself to. If my wife just left me about 10 days ago, I don't blame her at all. She would sing in the mornings and I would criticize it. She would listen to loud music because it makes her happy. She wakes up in the morning and she just wants to sing, listen to music, get ready for work or whatever get ready for the day, and just start her day that way. It's what she's always done, and it's beautiful. She has the nicest voice I've ever heard, maybe next to Christina Aguilera and Whitney Houston, but otherwise she was 3rd place, and I told her that. But yeah, and instead of just embracing that passion that she had for music and singing and dancing, instead I criticized it. I insulted her. I told her I hated those songs. They weren't appropriate songs always, but who cares? I mean, honestly, we're grown-ups. Like, I don't listen to appropriate songs either, I guess, always. So there's that. And but yeah, I made her feel like shit for something that simple. And I guess you do it, to be honest, you do it to make them feel unimportant, maybe unloved, to make them feel not special, and now that I've realized who I was, and I am literally 1 month into this healing process and discovery process of how to become a better person and develop my emotions and grow as a human, and mostly just grow emotionally, so I can never ever hurt someone that I love again. Now that I'm just a month into it, I can look back at it, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make a damn bit of sense. You don't know that you don't know what you're doing. I don't know. That sounds like an excuse. You don't realize what you're doing. It's an unconscious act, and I can say that honestly and sincerely. It is an unconscious act that when we do that to people, we justify it. We justify our anger. If they would just do this different, then I wouldn't get so mad, and I wouldn't treat them this way, or I wouldn't raise my voice. My thing is I raise my voice, and it's such a horrible. My dad raised his voice a lot, And it is, man, if I could change anything about myself other than the abuse, it would be raising my voice. It gets really loud, and I'm not a giant man. I'm, 6'2", 235, big enough to where when I get loud, it's just to intimidate. It's just to bully, to intimidate, to be powerful for some reason. And I've always been that way. Sometimes, but when you are that way, you say you're passionate. Like, oh, I'm really passionate about this topic or subject or whatever. And so my voice gets louder and louder. But the reality is you're not. You're trying to overpower. You're not, passionate about it because you love it so much. You're trying to overpower the person by talking louder than them, talking, over them, not listening to what they're saying. So you're not passionate, you're bullying, you're overpowering, overbearing. You're just doing it until they stop, which inevitably they do eventually. They stop because they don't want to fight. They don't want the fight. And then once they stop, you win somehow. You win, but you really lose. And I think it's what I've done my whole life. I've mostly always been like kind of the boss or whatever of my crews, of my, I've been a business owner for a big chunk of my life where you're the boss all the time, and so everyone just does what what you say to do, what you tell them to do, what you ask them to do, whatever the words are. But they all just mind because they don't want to lose their job. But that doesn't carry over to relationships. That's not how relationships work. You're not the boss in a relationship. No one is the boss. I mean, I know the gals like to say they're the boss, and the husbands always say she's the boss. But the reality is neither are bosses. Like, you're just together. You work together. You learn together, you grow together, you respect each other, you listen to each other, you hear what the other person says. That's how it should work. But from my experience, from my life, from my past, that's not how it worked for me. And I know I'm not alone. I know there are a lot of people that are in my shoes that are, for whatever reason, I know it because I know that there are millions of people that are abused. I didn't abuse all of them, and so I know there are others out there. There are a lot of others out there. It's very easy to find help for people that are abused. It's not easy to fix them or to help them heal or anything. But there are thousands of resources for the victims. There's from me going through what I've gone through for the past month, researching, looking up books, ordering books, singular book so far, but trying to find more books. It's hard. It's hard to find. It's hard to find people that I can relate to. There's a guy. The first night that I endured, when I realized that I was an abuser. There's a YouTuber. His name is Austin James. He's just awesome. Like, I came across it because, I think I Googled or YouTubed or searched whatever how to know if I'm an abuser, or how do you know if you're an abuser. And Austin James came up, and he's just a normal dude. He's a normal guy, just like me. Not a doctor, not a therapist, not a counselor, not anything other than someone that almost lost his wife because he abused her for many, many, many years, until he finally, something happened with him where he, for him it was like a calling from God, and not to, just to kind of summarize, or whatever you'd call it. One minute he had no idea and he would deny that he was an abuser. The next it was like he was struck, slapped in the face by God, and he's like, "This is who you have been to your wife." And he said it when he realized that, his entire world collapsed. And that's where I'm at. Yeah, I just lost my wife. She has 2 kids that are beautiful. I have 4 kids. We had 6 kids between us, and we have a nice, big, beautiful 7-bedroom house. 3 cats and a dog. We own, not that it's great, but we own a bar and restaurant that wears us out or wore us out, but it's ours. We control our own destiny. And, we had everything that we needed and wanted. We had to work hard, but what we didn't have is my wife didn't have someone that she could talk to. She didn't have someone that she could turn to when she needed someone and just have me listen without judgment. She would have a bad day, and when she would have a bad day, I would make it 10 times worse. I wouldn't run out and buy her flowers because she would have a bad day and maybe snap at me or be short with me or just be quiet, or whatever. And where me now, the way I feel and think now, I would just want to hold her, give her a hug, go buy her some flowers, maybe cook her dinner, take her to dinner, anything to make her day better. But the past me would just get mad at her for having a bad day because it was inconveniencing me somehow. Like, her bad day was somehow a burden on me. Got it. Like, it's pathetic. It sounds pathetic. It is pathetic when you say it out loud. I have no excuses. I can't justify it. I can't say but this or but that. It's just pathetic. And that's, and I'm not saying all of you out there are pathetic. I'm saying the way I treated, the way I acted or would react to her, maybe having a bad moment, maybe having a bad hour, was horrible. Just, how hard is it to be nice? As I sit here today, I'm like, all I needed to do was be nice. I needed to be empathetic to what she's going through. She's going through a very, very rough time. Outside of our relationship, she was going through a lot of very, very rough family issues, without getting into specifics. And she couldn't really even talk to me about it. I should be the first person she comes to, and I should sit and listen to every thought that she has, every feeling, every emotion that she's going through because of her, what things that she can't control. I should give her hours of my time and listen to every word that comes out of her mouth, because that is my wife and that is the person that I love the most. I committed to spend the rest of my life with her every day, every waking moment of my life. I committed to her and our marriage and this relationship. And I could still have it if I was only smarter, more, not smarter, but more aware. If I was aware of who I was, I would be listening to her every day and asking her if she's okay every day, because that's what good people do. That's what, that's how you treat someone you love, is you just say, like, are you okay today? Is there anything I can do to you? Do you want to talk? I would love to listen to your thoughts, and if I can help, then I will. And if I can't, then I'll just sit and listen. I'll listen to every word that comes out of your mouth, because if it comes out of your mouth, it's worth it. Like, it means something to you if you're going to say it. So it should mean something to me if the person I love has something to say. But when you're the past me, like, you're too afraid to be that open. Like, you're too afraid to, like, show things, like to show how much you need them and how much you love them and how much you actually care. And you're more set on making sure they know that you would be fine without them somehow, or that they're lucky to have you, not the other way around. Like, she wasn't lucky to have me. She had an abuser. That's not luck. That's misfortune, to say the least. That's, I was lucky to have her. And I blew it. I absolutely blew it because I wasn't aware enough of who I was. I didn't ever think of the actual reality of losing her and spending the rest of my life without her. And so I just bullied her. I pushed her around, like I criticized her, I insulted her, I belittled her. I made her feel stupid. She never felt stupid, but I tried to make her feel stupid, I should say. Anyway, I will try not to ramble as much going forward. I do have a list that I have right here on my wall, like bullet points, some things that I want to cover in my first video. But I also know that I talk a lot, so some of these will go this way, and if I'll get better and more efficient and more comfortable. I'm a little uncomfortable because it's very awkward, like looking at my phone, talking to the world about how much of a jerk that I have lived my life being, and how when I realized that that's who I was, a million instances of being mean, of abuse, a million of them. Like, it's almost like everything made sense, like why my life has been so damn hard. Like, I like to think I'm a smart guy. I can add, I can spell, I can do this, I know things. But that's not what a relationship is about. Like I was telling my kids just this last week, because I'm wide open with my kids. They know everything about my abuse. My kids, obviously, like any kids, they protect me. They're very protective of their daddy. They had a hard time with my wife. They struggled, but because they heard us arguing a lot, not getting along, and of course my kids are going to side with me, her kids are going to side with her. So it was very important for me when I realized, that I was an abuser, that I made it clear to my kids what was actually going on. Like, the only way I can get through all of this is to be completely honest with everyone every day about who I was, what I was doing, how it works. Because like if one person watches this, and I'm going to try to do a bunch of these, because like I said, I'm only a month into this recovery and healing. And if like any of this stuff registers with anyone else out there, where they're like, damn, that dude's just like me, or I totally get what that guy's saying, because I treat my wife or my husband like that too. And I don't want to, but I don't know how to stop. Like, I'm going to be doing these, and we're going to get better. I'm going to get better at, creating new pathways for our brains, for my brain, to, so when I react, it's following a different path than the ones that it's been following for, what am I, I'm 49. So for 39 years now, I've been treating people this way. And like I said, it's not everyone. I'm very nice to people, very nice to family, friends, acquaintances here at work. And, I don't bully everyone. It's just when you love someone and they get inside your heart and you get afraid that they can hurt you. So then you just beat them down. You just beat them down and make them feel unimportant, unloved, unneeded, unwanted. My wedding ring I took off and just tossed it like it's garbage. That wedding ring is my life. I've had it off. The last time I saw my wife, I took my wedding ring off and I just tossed it across the living room. Like, I don't need this. And all day, every day, I play with my finger. It's the dumbest thing I've ever done. Not really, but I feel naked without it. I feel weird. I hate it. I fucking hate it. I'm really sorry to cuss. Like, even though she's any minute, like every day, I just wait for papers to come to my door where she's filing for divorce. I still just want to go get a little cheap ring and put it on, so I at least feel like I'm still married until the day she, tells me I'm not, or until the court tells me I'm not, or whatever, however it is going to work. But anyway, so a couple quick things. My objective to this is to just kind of stay involved with the healing. Like, I feel like if I do this, I'm kind of hoping. I'm an idiot when it comes to YouTube. I've never used it before. I've never posted a video. I have no earthly idea how I'm going to post this video. I've Googled it a couple times, so I'll try to figure it out afterwards. But my hopes are that if I connect with a few people, I would love, whether it be comments or, I guess I can probably post my email somewhere. If anyone wanted to email me, offer advice, support, questions, books that I've come across, or people that I've met, or whatever that, that have helped, or advice, anything to, like, what I want to make sure of is that I never lose track of the mission I'm on. Now that my wife and now that she basically was forced to leave me, I didn't really give her an option. My things aren't going to come up anymore until, maybe God willing, she takes me back one day. But so I have to try to work on things. I have to try to work on myself. I have to try to work on creating all these new paths in my brain on how to react and how to treat and how to listen, without actually having her, to practice on, to work with on. So I'll be working by myself on it. And then hopefully some of you people out there will connect with me and we can kind of go through things together and talk. But I feel like doing these videos will help me keep on it every day. I'm obsessed with figuring out how to emotionally develop. Probably you'd like to do it, fast track your way through developing emotionally, because my first reaction to anything was anger. She would sing, and because I don't personally, belt out songs every morning in the bathroom while I'm getting ready, I don't understand it, and so I get mad and insult her. We've covered that, but my go-to everything was anger. Just mad. I'm just mad at anything I don't understand, anything I don't like, anything that someone does that I wouldn't do. I get mad at them for some reason. And again, not anyone, everyone. I generalize when I say stuff like that, but anything she would do that I didn't understand, I would just get mad at and insult her, make her feel stupid for doing it, just so she would stop doing it, just because I don't do it. Earth to me, we're not twins. My brother and I are almost twins. A lot of people think we are twins. We grew up together. We shared bedrooms my entire life, and we are completely different. And that's my brother, my blood, raised by the same parents, in the same house, in the same bedroom, most of the time in the same bed, both of us guys, and we're totally different. So why would I ever expect my wife to be just like me? Why would I want her to be just like me? I want her to be her. I mean, I can say that now. Before, I wanted to mold her into exactly what I wanted, which is me. Like, if I'm a Denver Broncos fan, which I am, I fully want her to become a Broncos fan so we can go to Broncos games together, but who cares if she likes Dallas versus, the Broncos or whatever, just stupid things like that. I would always just want her to be do and say and be just like me so I could understand everything instead of just learning from her, watching her, admiring her the way, like, she's absolutely brilliant. She's beautiful and brilliant and funny. She's smart. She's everything that a person could ever hope for or dream of, and then some. And instead of just soaking it all in and being thankful, thanking God every day that somehow he deemed me worthy to be this woman's husband. Somehow, some way, I became her husband. And all I should have done and all I would ever do going forward is be her best friend. Listen to everything she has to say. Admire her, encourage her, support her, trust her, empathize with her. Just be there for her. Laugh with her, travel with her. Everything that you dream of, that's, with the mindset I have now, that's where I'm headed. I'm heading to be in that spot where I'm capable of all of those things. Where I was before, I wasn't capable of any of that. Because when, as beautiful as she is, I would beat her down to make her feel less beautiful because I wanted her to feel like she needed me. So I would make her feel less beautiful, less brilliant, less amazing, less everything, because I wanted her to feel like she needed me instead of the other way around. So I'm just hoping that doing these will keep me involved with this topic, with this, I'm hoping some of you have some brilliant suggestions, things for me to do, things for me to try. I do feel like I've turned a gigantic corner. I had mentioned that I've been drinking since I was 12 years old, and to be honest, it was my older siblings used to get my little brother and I drunk and make us box when we were I think I was in 4th grade. They would make us chug a beer and then box each other. Lord. So that's how long I've been drinking. And then about 15 years ago, I got a job running this rock place where it was construction, a lot of construction sites. At the end of every day, the boss man brings back a couple of cases of beer. Everyone comes to the yard and has 2, 3, 4, 5 beers and talks about their day. No big deal. No big deal, except for it was every day. I worked 7 days a week, so we did that 7 days a week. And that was, I would say, 16 years ago, not even 15. So about 16 years ago, instead of drinking 2 or 3 days a week, I started drinking every day of the week. I would drink when I golfed, I would drink when I bowled, I would drink when I watched football, I would drink when I barbecued, I would drink when my older brother and I, we would have a contest. We would text each other first thing in the morning that says, the text would simply read, number 1. And that just meant I'm on my first beer. And we would race to see who could send the text first in the mornings. It was so cool to get up before him and crack open my first beer of the day and shoot a text to him and say, number 1. And then, 10 minutes later, I'd get a response, number 1 here. So 10 minutes later, he would crack open his, or vice versa. The drinking was just so cool and fun. It wasn't like I was upset, so I need a beer. It was always just, alcohol was associated with fun, bowling and golf and parties and barbecuing and horseshoeing and whatever. It was just fun. At the end of the workday, we would drink, we'd drink some beers. It was just always that. But what happens when you're drinking, obviously, is you just don't make good decisions. I didn't care most of the time. I would, if I got mad when I was drunk, it just was that. Like, it is what it is. I just got mad. I was drunk. I drank too much, so just deal with it. To be honest, I don't know that I've ever lost someone because of my drinking that I cared about enough to not drink, until now. I would rather drink than be with the person that I was with that was nagging me about drinking all the time. Like, I chose drinking. Right or wrong, I don't look back and, there's no one in my life that I look back on and go, dang, if only I didn't drink, I could still be with, whatever. I don't have someone like that in my life. I think none of the people in my past were right for me. And even if I wasn't abusive, I wasn't right for them either. My wife now is just a different life. It's a different world. Everything's different. It's she's my best friend. She's amazing. My lifelong best friend calls us twins. Like, we're so much alike. It's absolutely insane how much alike we are, even though, like, we don't do the same things or like the same musics or whatever like that, but we just are. There are just so many things about us that are just like, we're just exactly the same. It's kind of crazy. Like, I loved that about us. I mean, I do love that about us, but I know I get sidetracked. So I'm gonna kind of finish going through these, and then we'll call it a night for this one. And I doubt anyone will ever make it through this whole 42 minutes so far, but I do want to say that one of the things that I've learned, that was hard because it's basically the foundation of my lifelong abuse patterns, is there is no excuse to abuse. There's just not. There's not one reason in the world, not one thing that I can make up in my mind, or that could, that anyone could say or do that would make it right to make my wife feel unloved, unimportant, not smart, not, there's nothing that could happen. If she was having a bad day, that's not an excuse to treat her poorly. If she treated me poorly for an hour or two or whatever, that's not an excuse for me to treat her poorly back. You love them more back. You help them through what they're going through. There's no excuse to abuse. There's just not. I completely 100% eliminated excuses from my life. You have to, because if you can start making excuses, and that train never stops rolling. Once you start, you can excuse everything away, and I did for a long time. You don't know, you still don't know. I'm not saying, oh, the reason I'm an abusive person is this or is that. I would never say that, but I would say, well, the reason I got so mad and pushed her onto the bed, or called her a bad word, or belittled her, or took off my wedding ring, is because she made me mad, because she said this or did that and made me mad, so I in turn hurt her. Like, that's my excuse. Like, that can never happen. If you want to get better, which I do, if you want to completely get past being an abuser, you have to eliminate all the excuses, and you just have to take accountability for your actions. It's vital. Like, you can't do this without eliminating excuses. You can't make excuses for it. One of the things that someone said, because you can't, is if you see someone behaving the way you behaved, treating someone the way you treated your wife, or maybe still treat your wife, if you see someone else doing it, what would you think about them? Like, I would literally want to kick the crap out of them. If I saw someone talking to their spouse the way I talk to mine, that I used to talk to mine, I would literally want to kick the crap out of them. I would be sick. I'd be so pissed off that guy is talking to that gal that way. I would want to kick the shit out of him. And you know what? That's exactly how I talk to my wife. But I made excuses for it. Yeah, but when I do it, it's because she did this and that. No. Like, think about if someone was talking to your mother the way you talk or talked to your wife or spouse or husband. Think about if your daughter brought a boyfriend home and that boyfriend treated your daughter the way you treated your wife, or the way you treat your spouse, your partner. You know how bad you'd want to thump that little teenage boy that's talking to your daughter that way, or making your daughter feel ugly or stupid or not loved. You would tell her to get the hell as far away from that kid immediately as possible. Yet, that's what you're doing to your spouse. Like, that's what I did to my wife. And I was so unaware of who I was. I didn't see any of it. I just made excuses for myself. I didn't see any of it until I lost her. And now I sit here. I'm at work. My bedroom's right over there. It used to be called my office. Now it's my bedroom. Because my wife and I had a very bad night, and it wasn't her fault. It was my fault. And I involved our children. Our children watched me be this abusive man. And now she can't bring her children around me. She can't tell her children, yeah, but he's getting better. I just lost her. I drank. I was 2 weeks into my healing, into my revelation of I'm an abusive person, and I was doing so well. I was working on it every day. I was thinking about, okay, if I get frustrated, take a minute or two, go for a 10-minute walk, and just give me a few minutes to think about it, please. So then, instead of reacting with those, the frontal part of my brain that just instantly reacts, that's every decision you make instantly happens right here. Back here in the center, you actually have a smart part of your brain, like right in the center. That's the part of your brain that you have to think with and make decisions based upon your thoughts of thinking, like, this is how I should react. These are the consequences if I do or don't or whatever. But these things up here is your instant reaction. And that is 100% how I did it before. What I did last time, what I did the time before that, the time for that, time for that. It's just instinct. And that night, it was July 8th, 11 days ago now. I drank, and I had been trying to quit drinking. I cut back a lot from 7 days down to 2 or 3 days a week. Excuse me. Which I thought was good. I wanted accolades for that. Like, hey, I'm only drinking 2 or 3 days a week now, or whatever, But you can't go through what I have to have a clear mindset. I have to be aware of who I am, what I'm doing, my surroundings, because I'm working on something. Like I'm trying to heal 39 years worth of bad habits, bad thought processes, bad pathways in my brain. I'm trying to change all of that, and I'm trying to do it as fast as I can so I don't lose my wife, because I almost lost her once for like 4 or 5 days, and then she came back because I told her that I was going through this, that I realized who I was, and I promised her that I would fix who I was and change who I was. And I was well on my way, and then I drank. And I made a horrible, she came home, we got in a tiny little tiff, and so I said, I'm gonna walk home, and I drank a little more. And then I went home and I fell asleep, and she got home and woke me up. When I woke up, I was mad, but I was drunk. And you can't think clearly when you're drinking. And being in the state that I'm in, that I was 11 days ago, I should have known better to not allow myself to alter my mind with chemicals when I'm trying to heal who I was, like change who I was. Well, that's exactly who I was, a drinker. So then why for a second did I think I could just drink for a night, knowing that if something came up, I wasn't going to be able to think clearly and react the way I knew I needed to react. And I didn't. And I lost her. Now I get to live the rest of my life knowing that my abuse cost me the love of my life. Like, I hope to God you guys aren't there, you gals aren't there. I hope it's not too late for you to go, I don't want to be like Bill. Like, I want to learn from that and like stop it before it's too late. Because I didn't. I tried. But then I drank and I lost. I had a relapse. Not a drinking relapse, but where my mind was headed. I would practice a lot how I needed to react to when I felt myself getting angry. Just take a minute and say, hey, how is she feeling? Is she actually trying to make me angry? Or is she just frustrated about something and trying to convey that to me? And instead of thinking about me being angry, think about how she's feeling, like why she's upset, and care about that, because she's not trying to hurt me. She's not trying to make me mad just for the fun of it. She's upset, she's triggered, whatever, but just care about what's bothering her and help fix that. Because in fixing that, it will fix everything. Like, it'll fix you. Your anger will go away because you'll realize, nope, she wasn't trying to hurt you. She was just upset about something, or frustrated about something, or scared about something, or whatever. And just ask her about it, talk to her about it, and listen to what she has to say. And just empathize with her. Just listen to her. And understand, like, yeah, she wasn't trying to hurt me at all. She was just upset about this or that, and like, I can make that better, not make that worse. There's a song by Tyler Braden that's out right now. It's called "Try Losing One." I listen to that song in the morning, I listen to it at night, and I bawl my eyeballs out of my head. It's amazing. One of the lines is like, you think it's hard finding someone? Like, you think it's hard finding that someone? Try losing that someone. And one of them, like, I wrote it down because I just love it so much. It says, try living with knowing that you let her down. Try trying like hell not to think about that hurt in her eyes. has she turned around? And that's what I get to think about for the rest of my life now. Is that hurt in her eyes that she turned around? And like, how hard is a marriage? Try losing it. That's fucking hard. How hard is it to find that perfect person? It's hard. Now try losing that perfect person. That's hard. So anyway, I'm going to stop for now. We'll pick up again tomorrow. If any of you guys are like anywhere near this stuff with me, just check back. Most of my things I'll try to keep to like 10, 15, 20 minutes. This is my first one. I'll try to be a little more on point next time. But I am going to go through this. I'm going to put it out there. I know that Austin James helped me a freaking ton. Listening to him and what happened to him, it helped me realize that I'm not alone. Like, there are millions of people that are abused, which means there are millions of people abusing. And you know what? Like, we're not bad people. We're people that had a rough time, suffered something that just we didn't quite figure out the way other people do. And all we really need to do is understand that about ourselves and start working on how a better way to react to frustration and anger is. And that's to just listen, be understanding, be empathetic, be kind, be trusting, be loving, and everything else just gets better. It's crazy. So I hope it's not too late for everyone that's out there that's kind of where I was a month ago. All right. So my name is Bill Miller. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.